to the Watchin It podcast. On today's show, Donnell doesn't think animals suck. Robert says pictures can be dangerous. And on this week's episode of Silo, can we get them segregated into separate episodes?
Yeah,
can we stop these scene changes?
Just give me like the first half one area and the second half the other area. Like just give us some breaks, you know? Don't need all this jump cuts, especially when it's just like a couple minutes, or you're not even, sometimes it's a couple seconds or a minute of Juliet.
It's ridiculous.
And then we're back.
Yeah, we're right into it. We're talking about Silo, new episode, Book of Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, this whole book thing, not in the books.
Not the books, not in the books?
No, I don't know what they're doing.
No,
they're eating a lot of real estate.
Here's my question, though. Is Camille in the book?
Nope. I don't recall her at all.
I was about to say, I feel like this, I even without reading the book like this, like I felt like this is a divergence, but I'm also like, I'm here for it right now. Camille is one of my favorite characters.
By the way, Camille was only in this episode for one scene.
Yep.
And I think you and me both decided unilaterally she is an amazing character in this show.
Yes.
An amazing actress.
Yes.
I've looked through her IMDb. Nothing of real note.
I mean, maybe this will be the thing that launches her. Maybe.
I'm watching her now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this is just like, I mean, she's obviously a great actress, but I don't know if this is maybe just she hit her stride, or maybe just a good direction.
Yeah.
You know, in the last few episodes or what, in this whole season. But Camille is amazing, the actress.
Yep.
Whose name is
Alexandria Riley.
Excellent. Yeah. Totally.
Yep.
I've seen her in other stuff, I feel. But
I mean, and this is no shade at her. I'm just saying, I'm on Wikipedia. So you don't even have, like, her name isn't even highlighted for a link. You can't go to a Wikipedia page for her. Like, so definitely.
Yeah.
But like I said, hopefully that's
maybe this is a break.
That's what I say. Hopefully that's going to change soon. Hopefully this is where, because I think just watching her, like I said, I mean, dude, before we dive even into the episode,
up in Andor, I would be excited.
Oh yeah.
If she shows up in Andor season 2, I'm just gonna be like, oh yeah, y'all pick the.
You know who you're casting. Yeah. No. See is something else. Like I said, and like I said, the first season, I keep thinking back to Juliet breaking into their apartment and that whole scene, and you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, this woman, and now just seeing who she is, I'm like, oh, Julia, you got off lucky. Like, you got off this lady.
She's a player.
Like, she's not just a player. Like, she's
fantastic. Okay, let's just talk about Silo 17, I suppose.
Yeah, let's get.
It is really kind of annoying the way that they did it this episode. Like we said at the beginning, I really kind of wish now that they had just done Silo 17 for one episode, Silo 18 for a different episode. But it's just it just very interweaved, and we only get like seconds.
I think I don't even think we got we maybe got like 7 minutes.
Maybe, but there was never a full minute.
No, not a full
anything.
Minute at any. Well, near the
of
end.
any scene.
I think near the end we got maybe.
Okay, maybe.
But I think 7 minutes total.
Yeah.
So it'll be easy to go through. We pick up with Juliet basically where we end it, where she's back at the pulley site. I'm glad at least we cleared up pretty quickly, because it was like, even though at the end of last episode we did see that axe and the blood, it wasn't 100% confirmed there was somebody else in the silo. But in this episode, like I said, right from the get go, like, it was the amount of blood everywhere. It's like, okay, no, there's somebody else is here. Solo didn't betray her.
So some things that I noted. 17, the number 17 is written on the colander of the stairs. That's interesting. That's not an 18, and that's very odd that they would do that based on the information that I have from the books. Like that they would number
put
the
the number of the silo. Yeah,
very odd. But I was waiting for these characters. So she gets the bends.
She gets the bends
real hard, and then she decides to. She remembers what Solo said.
Yep.
You got to go back into the water.
Dives I think we both agreed. Dives back in the water, but nowhere near deep enough.
I don't think so. But I mean, movie, whatever. Nobody understands. That's watching this really understands what the bends means.
I'm still amazed at how much she can swim after never swimming in her whole entire life. And during the very first couple episodes, like I said, if she fell in the water without that jug, she would die. But now she's like, nah, I'm amphibious now.
She eventually comes out of the water after hanging out there for a little bit because somebody cuts off the air. She goes up and immediately gets shot with an arrow.
Well, she grabs the axe, which me and you both agree, smart, finally, like, whipping up, something's going on. Runs into somebody who has a giant flat. So we see later on it's a chick, but I swear it was a guy's voice. Maybe somebody else was talking for
Well, there
her.
was a guy.
There was a guy there. So maybe he was talking off to the side.
Two girls and a guy,
Yeah, maybe he was talking off to the side for her.
Or lowering their voice or something. I'm ignoring that.
Yeah.
You know.
They hit her with a floodlight, which is very effective in a dark scenario. I was like, good work. She gets shot in the chest with an arrow. She lucks out and happens to get a first aid kit, which I'm like, what are the odds? But still,
in my opinion, she's a down deeper.
True.
She works in the reactor or whatever. She's been hit before by more than just an arrow. Like, this is not her first scar.
Yeah, I still feel like this is some superhuman. Like, we already, like I said, we have hardcore, we had that insane no air swim she did last season of never knowing how to swim before that. Then she staves off the bends long enough to find out what happened with Solo. Then when she gets the bends, she recovers from them pretty damn quick. Like, they say it takes like 40 minutes to an hour and stuff, but she staves off recovers from the bends, gets shot, then she gets up, goes up, she patches herself up, and then gets into mortal combat with somebody in front of the stairs, and she wins. Even though she's freshly wounded in the chest, she wins this fight, and the only reason why she doesn't like take the person out
I do love that she's got like a shield and an axe, like she's going to fight a predator in like the 1600s or something.
I'm just maybe you're right.
Look, she's the hero.
Maybe the down deepers are just built different, man.
She's the hero. She's got plot armor and she's got a stat boost.
Yeah,
you know,
major stat boost. She's pulling off some amazing feats.
So I mean, that's pretty much where it ends. I want to talk about the three characters that show up: two girls and a guy.
Yep.
These are very early in the books.
Okay.
Before Silo, pre-Silo. Sorry, pre-Solo.
In
the book. So like when
she meets them before.
So you remember a couple episodes ago when she goes into the farm and she's getting water out of like the spigots that's still running and stuff, and it's like, in that scenario, it's all completely dark, and somebody touches her and messes with her in the dark, and it's one of the girls. Yeah.
Okay.
So these are characters I've been waiting to show up.
I'm really glad.
I was like, okay, are they going to show up or not? Yeah. But you kept mentioning that like they kept messing with the camera and making it look like someone was
like
watching.
I said, they very much made it feel like there's someone besides Solo in this silo. So, and then like we get this because I think I also am wondering. And like I said, you probably have answered this, but it's like you said, they've had to been waiting for this opportunity. Like Solo has been in that room; he ain't coming out for anybody. And we also saw like there are two other people, which I wonder if these people were with these three, who were dead. You know, then I still wonder how they were killed. That's something I'd love to get some information on. But yeah, like two other people who died outside of Solo's room. So it's just like, this opportunity to get Solo to get into that room has got to be. I do wonder, like, I mean, like, there's just so many questions with these people, like how they've been surviving, where they've been getting food.
It's interesting the ages of the actors.
They look pretty young.
Yeah, but in the books, they were children.
They were children.
These characters were children in the books. Like maybe 10 or 11.
Like even as teenagers.
Well, because in the books there are other people that survived initially after the because a lot of people went up top and they died for reasons.
Yeah.
But there were some people that didn't die and they had kids. Yeah. So there were people who survived for a while.
Yeah.
While Solo was locking himself in the room and whatnot.
Okay.
Anyway, I wouldn't say they're like my favorite characters, but they're interesting characters, and I was wondering if they were going to show up or if they were going to completely cut them out of the storyline. I'm very excited because that means one of my favorite. When I say favorite, my most seething and raging scenes I've ever read in a book ever. This is like. There's a scene that's going to happen probably in season 2.
You mean 3?
Season 3, yeah.
Right now,
season 3, probably not season 4, probably season 3. That like in the books, it was the most rage
I remember you
I've
talk about
ever
it before.
felt. I think I mentioned this to you before. Yeah, it was. There's a scene that comes up involving these girls in Solo that is so rage-inducing. I've never felt rage reading a book before until this scene, but we'll look forward to that.
Get to this scene
later. Now that these characters have been introduced, I'm like, oh, they're gonna have that. Oh yeah, and we're gonna talk about it when it happens.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll feel rage. I'll be like, the rage, Donnell. The
rage has returned.
All right. Let's go to Silo 18. There's a couple of things happening.
There's a lot happening.
Yeah, there is. This was a fantastic episode. Negating the fact that they jumped to Silo 17 too often and for too little.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start?
I mean,
Silo 18.
I figured I want to start with the Down Deepers because I need to get to some stuff that rage inducing myself this episode. But yeah, so we actually start this episode off with Billings having lunch in the cafeteria with all the Down Deepers looking at him like, what the hell is he doing here? I was a little bummed that he wasn't hanging out with Hank this episode. I like the Billings Hank combo.
I do like Hank. Hank is
I like them together. They're a good team. I like the buddy cop vibe we are getting from them. I want some more of that before the season ends. But he's not. He's having lunch alone until Shirley joins him. We saw actually before this, and it's interesting, is Shirley already adding to the wall under down low, adding Cooper's name.
Yeah.
Already adding the first of the people who's lost. But Shirley anyways joins them for lunch. Well, not really. She actually leaves beforehand. But she basically is trying to get Billings on their side. She's trying to get there. She brings up a very interesting thing about, I loved where she's like, are you still in charge? And was like, as far as I know. And he's like, I was like, yeah, are you still the sheriff? And I'm like, they haven't said anything yet. And then she's like, are you hiding out down here? And he's like, kind of. He's like, maybe. Don't ask these questions. But yeah, she tries to sway him to our side, or to the down deep side. I mean, that's
Look.
So this is a segue.
Your side.
This is a
segue.
The
down deep.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Based on the information I have from the books.
Well, let me finish my thing. Is I say our side, but that thing is like that's my segue. Is I what is it? I feel bonded to the Down Deepers, and I feel like they're definitely being oppressed. But knowing, like, even not book knowledge, just knowing from Juliet going out, knowing that if they succeed, like if everything plays out right now, Knox and Shirley take out Bernard, take out the judicial, they're going to do the exact same thing as Silo 17 and go outside and die. So I'm like, I'm rooting for them, but also like, but they can't succeed because then everybody dies. Yeah. So it's like,
so yeah, you're starting to get it. So based on all the information,
situation,
all the information that I have, I'm rooting for Bernard. I'm like,
but he's such a scummy.
He is a scummy bag,
but
he does
he's
terrible
doing
things
it for the right reason in a sense.
Yeah, based on the information I have,
while they
Bernard needs to win.
Yeah, it's one of these like why they are lying to them. It is truthfully keeping them safe. It's such a weird twist situation to be in.
It's only going to get crazier in season 3 and season 4, Donnell.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So they have to plan.
Yes.
That is really awesome. I think it's initially a good plan that they're going to climb up with ropes and hooks when late at night when the security is low.
A little legal stuff too, because they were using some pulleys, because there were some people down below pulling them up and like, whoa, pulleys are illegal.
There was like not the supply, but like I don't know. I still don't understand the wheelchair guy and what his group is.
They're like
maintenance.
They're like not mechanical. They were like because they make a bunch of mechanical stuff. I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember what they were called, but yeah.
But they had the pulleys.
Yeah,
and they talked about it. So they're running out of supplies. They don't have bandages.
Medical
they don't
supplies,
have food. And all this
they
stuff.
have food. They got that farmland.
Oh, fair enough.
They're running out of medical supplies.
And they want it. They need to get up to supplies so they can get some stuff. So they sneak up.
No, before that.
Yeah. So they walk into supply and immediately they're caught.
Yes.
Initially, I thought and said when we were watching it together that like, oh, they've been watching them on the cameras. But you reminded me.
Yeah.
Someone has betrayed them.
Because I want to talk about this beforehand. So while they're discussing this plan, they go to Walk because he's part of the leadership in a sense.
Yeah.
But Walk is, and this is one of the things that's frustrating to me. Walk is, and here's the thing: is like I understand, love and stuff and passion, and that can block rational thinking. But even like Walk is getting mad at them for wanting to take care of the greater group. Her wife is in prison. And they're talking about doing this mission to get supplies, which I don't know exactly levels, how it goes, but I figure supplies is like maybe 2 levels up from them, where judicial is at the top of the silo. So it's like there's a big difference between going to supplies to get some bandages and going to judicial, which is also reinforced, has a whole bunch of guards with guns and stuff. Like, she's upset with them. For be like, oh, you want supplies and go get McClane out of supply or out of judicial instead of going to supplies. I'm like, well, you're like saying, hey, why don't we raid Fort Knox?
Yeah.
Versus let's rob a convenience store. Like, I'm not saying either one is incredibly easy and there's danger involved in both, but I guarantee robbing a convenience store is 25 million times easier than breaking into Fort Knox. And she's just so focused on McClane. And the thing that I really got, especially because he's like, McClane sacrificed herself for us. That should matter. And I'm like, it does matter. But also, I think about it from the other side, looking at it from McClane's point of view. I think McClane would be pissed off at Walk. She would hate Walk. She's like, I gave my life so you guys could keep fighting, so you guys could, and you're doing what? Like, you're wasting everybody. Yeah. And so that's my
And also, these people were married.
Yeah.
For a long, I assume, decades.
Yeah, yeah.
And Walk wouldn't know this about her?
Exactly.
That she wouldn't want her to do.
She's being completely irrational about it.
So basically Walk gets she turned on her camera last episode. She gets a summons through the computer system to go and fix a pump. Yeah. And Bernard meets her there. So and says like, hey, I have McClane.
I was going to say before that, her and Shirley are talking about it and I just think it was interesting where Shirley points out, like, one is like, Walk's the only person who gets this message. And she is at this time a wanted fugitive, one of 4, I guess 3 now, seeing as McClane is captured, but for murdering Judge Meadows. And it's like, this is a trap. And the thing I think is interesting is Shirley's pointing this out, and it's like, Walk knows it's a trap. She wants, because like I said, she's so focused on McClane, she wants to go up there. She wants to, whether she just doesn't know if it's going to be Bernard or Judicial or whatever, but like she wants to go up there to try to do something. I don't know what. But that's the thing is like when Shirley's telling her, it's like, yeah, she knows. She knows. She's walking into this wholeheartedly.
You know what this scene maybe, because she's like, Walk has a line. It's like, well, they explained that pump maintenance supersedes anything else. And I would really, really love a Snowpiercer level event. Yeah. Like they did, like if you remember from Snowpiercer season 1?
I think it was season 2, because I'm pretty sure what's the big bad? I can't remember his name all of a sudden.
Walker. No.
I want to call him Bernard, but I know he's not Bernard.
Wilford.
Wilford, yeah. Because Wilford was on the train at this time. So, but
in Snowpiercer, there's a scene where they're basically
in the middle of a civil war
battle.
Yes.
And there's something going on with the train, and they're like, we're about to hit something or something, and they say
the train's about to derail.
They do a red level emergency. And everybody, all the engineers stop the battle, grab their tools,
it was such a great
keep
scene.
The train. Oh my God,
it
so
was
amazing.
So fantastic. Where it's like literally these people are fighting to the death.
Yeah.
They're going to kill each other. And then all of a sudden they're like, train derailment. Everyone's like, hold up. Because right now we're trying to kill each other, but if this train derails or whatever is going to happen, everyone's dead. So it's like, we will put everything
Trains
to the
over
side.
silos.
Yeah.
Trains over silos. Anyway, continue. She meets with Bernard. Bernard says he has McClane.
Yep.
And is like, hey, I mean, Bernard is a dick.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in my mind, knowing what I know, this is what you got to do.
Even me. Like I said, I hate Bernard. I hate what he's doing. But like I said, I still know. Like I said, you don't need book knowledge. You just need to realize what Juliet has realized. Like after she left, like everyone left Stylo 17 and they're all dead. So it's like, while it's one of the things, like it's. But I mean, it just raises the question, like, because that thing is like we saw in the first season, Like there's a double illusion going on with that screen panel or whatever of seeing outside, and there's the whole like half truth they tell him about outside and what's going on. And I guess my only thought, and this is probably book knowledge, might explain this, but is my thing is like, why not just be honest? Instead of like, because like we read about the rebellions and how to blame it on the lower levels, like, but you wouldn't have rebellions if you were straightforward, like, no, it's really deadly out there. Like, it just seems like all this cloak and dagger stuff is what stirs up the rebellions, which we do.
It's a mystery,
in the other
Donnell.
storyline.
I was
say, in the other storyline we're going to get to, we find out, rebellions were happening every 20 years, and eventually they were going to win. And I'm like, when did it stop the cloak and daggers taking? They're like, no, things are really they're messed up.
No, I mean, it's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an ultimate question in the books. Is like, why don't you just tell people the truth?
Yeah,
and then go from there. Why are things the way they are?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a quote from the first season, I think. Why are things the way they are? Yeah. But yeah, he talks walk into being a spy.
Yeah.
And lets her see McClane through a window.
Yeah, see also before this, he gives up, which like I said, when I realized this watching the episode, like I said, C gives up because like I said, they did come and talk to her about breaking into the thing. And so when Judicial's waiting for him, at first, like I said, we thought it was the cameras, but then I was just like, oh, you bitch, Walk. Yeah. I was so upset because I'm just like, you literally just gave. Once again, I know, like I said, I know love is a very strong thing and it may make you think, but just think about like, she gave up all those people, and like a little bit later we see her ask, like, did anybody die? I'm like, yeah, did you think about that when you were giving them up? That you may be getting people dead? And once again, going back to it, I'm pretty sure, let's just say
Walk is struggling with it. It's not like she's completely...
I know, but I'm just saying, let's play this out. Let's just real quick. I don't know how things go in the book. I'm assuming there's some back.
This doesn't happen in the book.
But yeah, well, I'm just saying like with the rebellion. I know the rebellion happens in the book, but let's just say in the rebellion, let's say it fails because Walk's giving information.
There is a rebellion in the book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But let's say the rebellion fails because Walk's giving information and she gets reunited with McClane. You're not gonna be with her. Because I guarantee the moment McClane finds out you gave out those people, especially if people died, which I'm assuming some will, she's gone. She's not going to want to be with you. Like, so I'm just like, what are you doing? You're not. Do you, like I said, if you love somebody, you should know them, and you should know McClane would not want this. This is not what she would want. Anyways,
yeah. So okay. So let's talk about the Billingses.
Yes.
So Billings, the Billing wife, I don't know her name.
Yeah, I just have her as Mrs. Billings.
There are so many characters in this episode that are growing on me.
Oh yeah, no. I'm getting like the thing is with each episode, I am committing more people's names. So like I said, Supply Lady, I know her name now. She's McClane, and that's in my head now. She's not, like I said, with each episode, I'm like, no. I mean, even Shirley,
Amundsen.
Yeah, Amundsen. But I'm gonna say even Shirley, like, could barely even remember who she was a couple episodes ago. Now I'm like, no, I know who Shirley and Knox are. You kidding? Like, they're major
But
players.
anyway, Billings and his wife, she goes to see Kennedy, and I love the Kennedy character for some reason. He's just living it up. He's got the bathrobe on. He's chowing down.
Is like there is this whole.
He just goes with the flow.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's this whole rebellion going on in the silo, but for McKinney, he's like, whatever. Like, he's just living his life. I'm just recovering, and whatever's out there when I go out there is out there. Okay.
I got the good drugs. Yeah. But he talks about the page that Billings showed him.
Yes. Didn't tell his
wife. But the wife didn't know anything about it. She plays it off. And then she confronts him about the page.
Yeah.
And
I thought at first, because we know Billings is very much a man of the pact, and we've seen that his wife is very much into the pact too. But after this episode and this scene, I've come to realize, like, you're just doing that for your husband. You're not really as much about the pact as he is.
Yeah.
You just go along with it because that's the man you married.
But I love this scene so much because so she asked to see the page, and Billings doesn't want to show it to her. And at first you're like, oh, it's just because of the pact, which is maybe a thing in his head.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's seen it.
Yeah.
He's had the breakdown.
Exactly.
There's a big difference between knowing that the universe exists
Mm-hmm.
and seeing that
Seeing
there's a difference
what it
between
is.
knowing there are galaxies out there and then seeing the Hubble deep field.
Yeah. And
It
so
breaks you in a way, and he doesn't want his wife
to go through that.
But yeah, because as soon as she sees it, she's just like,
So,
oh my
I mean,
God,
that's one of the things I wrote down. Is I was like, just this page.
Yeah, one page. And
book
there was a whole book that Billy saw.
Is enough to just change everything in your life. And that's why I just like going back to Lucas and what he's going to go through as he gets more and more information. I'm like, oh, you're in for something else. And the other thing, but that's the other thing I really love about this series is the ludicrousness of some of it, but it also makes sense for these people. Like one is like, just jumping back an episode or two, when Sims gives his son that Pez dispenser.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we see it and it's a Pez dispenser.
Yeah.
But like, no, this matters.
I mean, even in the first season, they were always asking, what is this? And we're like, we don't know.
Yeah. But this matters to them. Like, and him giving it to his son, like, changed his whole son's. My dad's giving me this thing. And then also like this book, as I talk about it, like this book, I remember looking at it was like a travel brochure book, like something you
it
like.
It was like a kid's like national parks book or something.
Yeah. And so, like I said, for us in this day and age with this world, it's just like, who the hell cares? But for them, like, this is like fighting the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
Like that level. If you
this
just
is like no, this is like a caveman that could read English for some reason gets a hold of the first edition of the children's version of how things work.
Yes.
It's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is like you've just met Copernicus.
Yes.
Like,
it's just like, just literally like, yeah. And so I just love that this little kids' national travel book or travel brochure book is literally just like, oh, this, like I said, Billings burnt the whole book.
I mean, they've never
like
seen
trees.
Yeah, I mean, other than like the farms
one
or something,
dead tree outside their window.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you've never seen the ocean, and those are all pictures or seashells,
the birds,
or
and all that. But just crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
So I think what I would call the main storyline is Kyle, Lucas Kyle, doing his. So I mean, the episode is literally called the Book of Quinn.
Yes.
By the way, again, in the books, the Book of Quinn is not a thing. This whole code and all this stuff. No, I don't remember it at all. But he is trying to break the code and investigating things. Again, Lucas Kyle.
Yeah.
Not a major character, in my opinion, in the first season.
Oh, no, not at all.
Totally, like, breaking out in this season.
People,
in this episode
I really
specifically.
like how much people are being elevated. Like, from, like I said,
no,
there's so many...
what's crazy to me is not just elevated in the season, but this episode specifically.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy because, yeah, he's looking around and he's having to go and, like, find people. By the way, in the books, like I said before in the previous episode, he is locked in the dungeon.
Yeah, I am a little
but
disappointed.
He's getting to wander around.
I like I said, like I said, you've told me about this, and there's also this thinking about like once you told me, I was like, yeah. If you become the shadow, and the amount of head
exploding
that's going to happen as you learn all the stuff that the head of IT knows, it's like you can't be like just me thinking about. Like I said, I didn't even read the books, but once you tell me that, I was like, you can't be allowed to just walk around the silo because like I said, I'm just thinking about if I was having these sort of revelations, you just put me in there and I go in this vault and I spend 8 hours just having my mind blown. And then you let me walk the streets, I would just be walking down, even if I know it's not right. I'd be walking, and I would just grab someone. Let me tell you about whatever.
No, this would be like
I wouldn't be able to hold it in. Like, yeah, you gotta lock that person in the room.
They just dropped you or me or any other random human or American or something into like the CIA record vault.
Yeah,
for like a day.
And then just said, put you back in
go have lunch outside in the real world. It's like you're gonna be holding signs on the street corner, be like the end is nigh. Like,
exactly, telling everybody what you no matter how much tell you. Yeah,
but yeah, no, his character is amazing. Trying to break this code, and I love that he's just like he's got the blue card. He's the IT shadow now.
He heads into Judge Meadows' office.
Yeah,
and I just love it. Yeah, he just stands up to some freaking like I think it's like
not even like just judicial. But like judicial CIA agents.
But until this scene, it's just one of the things like you just like of course Bernard's above everybody, but until this scene you just don't realize like judicial is the big bad. They're the like the ones who are cloak and shadows and no one stands up to him and he's just like supplow.
Yeah.
Blue, you see this blue ID badge? get the hell out of here. And they're just like, damn it, you gotta do it. And yeah, just that moment where you're just like I just feel like for him that had to be like in his head, like, oh my gosh, like I also imagine like he's just sweating bullets before they actually like, please work, please work, please work. I don't need to be taken.
Yeah, no, it's awesome when he gains that confidence, but then he goes into. He looks up so he finds the pact.
Yep.
I love that, like, the book that's going to give him the answers is the pact.
Yep.
And stuff. But he ends up having to look up
Quinn's
descendants
relatives.
of Quinn's.
Yep.
And he goes to try to use his confidence on them, and it kind of backfires a little bit.
Yep. I mean, we find out these people have been through some crap because apparently, like I said, everyone in the silo they sees Quinn as, because of the way history is written for this. Quinn is the guy who almost got everybody killed in the silo, and so you're his descendants. Everybody hates you.
I also love how, I mean, it's I don't know. I like the concept that they're pariahs amongst the people of the silo.
Yeah.
So they're forced to make the wool.
Yeah.
That's used to clean the lens. I would think that the wool creators would be like an elevated position. I mean, but no, it's a derogatory position.
Well, yeah, because you're people who clean the lens, like that's the ultimate.
But they also make the blankets for some people.
They do. For the
but I love that, like, the dad's the sheep farmer and the son is like.
Well, that's what I put down. It's like, this is a like all of them. Yeah. It was like, we've been doing this for generations. Like, and his son is like, he's gonna be the next one.
Spinning the wool, and the dad's
like, it's just like, yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, so he doesn't exactly get through to him at first, but he comes back and then he tries hey, I'm one of you. You know, I'm from the mid lower levels. I'm nothing special, even though he is now. But you know, and he does the everyman approach, and he actually gets through to him. And this is where we find out. And I thought this was just interesting. They're like, yeah, that's what Judge. He basically tells them all. So I forgot, he did talk to Bernard before this.
Yeah,
and Bernard explained to him that, like, hey, Quinn wasn't the man who almost doomed the silo. He saved it. He was the one who got rid of the history, because we were having revolts every 20 years.
And they poisoned the entire water supply with forget-me drugs.
Yeah. And so then he goes back and relays this information. That's where we find out that Judge Meadows, and like I said, before she died, she did allude that she knew the secret in that. So I'm like, she cracked the code also at some point. But yeah, we found out Judge Meadows had already been here, but it was back before she was the judge. So back when she was the shadow. Yeah, I was like, oh. And they gave her Salvador Quinn's version of the pack, which I'm wondering, is this like a pack that's different from?
I think it is.
Well, yeah, that's what I was like. This is pre-rebellion pact.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what's in here that's not?
Yeah, a couple of pages or something. And he does break some of the code, but he finds that Judge Meadows has done some of the work for him in the past by underlining certain letters and stuff. We don't get a full translation. Just something along the lines of, if you've come this far, you know that everything's broken.
If you're reading this, you know the game is rigged. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So yeah, we have that. Just really good with Kyle Lucas. I want to real quick pivot, and then we can finish with Kyle Lucas because it's kind of the wrap up. But quick pivot to two things that happened with Sims and his wife. One is we had Camille meeting with Armandson.
Yep.
And
who's the new Sims?
Yeah,
for those that don't know the names, the listeners that don't know the names, and the odd listeners that like to listen to us to learn about the episode but not actually watch it.
Yeah.
My God, please. Watch this show.
Watch the show.
It's amazing.
I mean, my only thought is Apple TV.
I enjoy that you're here and that you're getting something out of listening to us.
My thing is,
but my God, watch the show.
Apple TV's not cheap, Robert. Not everybody has the means of websites or other means to watch the show. So there might be people who are like, hey, we're providing that for them. And if that's the case, I'm glad we could provide that. I do hope that someday you get to watch the show because it's fantastic. And even if you have been listening to us and you have been enjoying us, I still say go if you get the chance.
Look, I know that the people listening to us are listening in their car and they're going to forget this in a couple of days. So if they go back and watch the show.
Exactly.
The thing to remember is that when you have time or money or access, watch the show. It's just really good.
It's a good show.
Even if you've listened to us talk about it.
So anyways, she meets with Armandson basically because, Armandson's been stonewalling Sims when he tries to get information.
As he should be.
Sims, he wants Sims wants him to follow Lucas. And I just really liked in the scene because Camille, like I said, C has shown already a couple times. Like, C is after.
She is the silo.
That's what I say. C is after. Like, at first, it's like, oh, C just wants Sims to be in good with Bernard again. It was like, no, C's after more than that. Because, like, C's talking to Armstrong about how this rebellion could go south. And maybe you'll be on the wrong side. Maybe you should. And so, like, C's always playing the bigger picture. And C's willing to go directly against Bernard.
Yeah.
To the
behind every great man is an even greater woman.
And
and Camille is that.
Like I said, watching all of season 1 and watching Sims go around and be his, badass self, I was like, man, Sims is the dude. All this season, and I'm not putting down Sims, but all this season was like, oh no, Sims is nothing without Camille.
The question is why it was Sims in line to be the shadow to the head of IT and not Camille.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she likes working from the.
She's a shadow player.
She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to be the shadow. That's the. I guarantee if Sims. Because I imagine if you become the head of IT or the shadow of the head of IT, you're like sworn like, hey, if you do have a wife, like you ain't telling them nothing.
Yeah.
But I guarantee Camille would have gotten out of him. Some pillow talk or whatever. Like, oh, Sims is. He would have become, and that might be why Bernard.
I think I said this last episode, but Sims could not handle.
No, not at all.
The truth.
No.
I think the only reason that Lucas Kyle is handling the truth at this stage is because he has a mission. He has a project.
I think so. And then also Lucas, and it's one of the things that when we got introduced in the first season, Lucas Kyle showed that he has a mind for more than what's going on the side. Yeah. Like he was figuring out before all this about the stars and stuff. So he has that curiosity. I mean, that's, I think, one of the things Bernard even said is like that you have to have that curiosity and want to know more. And that's something Sims just wants the power and order. And it's like, that's not what's there. But then the other scene I wanted to bring up with Sims is when he goes to meet Armstrong, and Armstrong gives him the information.
Yeah.
He's like, this is what Lucas has been up to. But I do like the ending where he's like, because I feel like this might come to head because Sims and Camille had this. He's like, hey, no more secrets
in the last
between
episode,
us. And Armstrong's like, hey, stop sending your wife to do your work.
Which he didn't
he didn't. Yeah, he didn't know. And I'm like, ooh, that's another where I was like, even though it worked out for him because he got the information, some of the information he wanted, he's just learning that Camille's still doing stuff behind his back without telling him. But then, like I said, to wrap things up, after Lucas comes out of Meadows' thing, he has a run-in with Sims. And this is the thing that I think is interesting, actually, real quick, is this episode also had a very interesting through line of discussions between, like, we had Bernard and Walk forming some alliances and stuff alluding to. But then Camille, when she talks to Armstrong, she's like trying to be like, hey, Bernard may not always be in charge and stuff. We had Shirley talking to Billings like, hey, are you still in charge? And then we get to see Sims when he's talking to Luke. Like, there's a lot of like trying to build different alliances outside of just the normal structure. Because he's talking to Luke and he's like, hey, and it's something I thought about. Like, I don't think when Lucas first started cracking the code before he became the Shadow, I was like, yeah, Bernard's going to throw you out. As soon as you solve this for him, you're done. But then, now that he's a Shadow, but it's still a possibility that Bernard may betray him.
That's weird. All I'm thinking is that if I'm Sims, I'm like, they just offed the last judge.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm cut out. They can off me too, man. I better play ball.
Like, then after the last judge, and remember, the last judge was the closest thing Bernard had to a lover.
Yeah.
He don't even like you anymore. So I'm just like, woo, Sims, you are playing
play it with
fast
fire,
and
man.
loose.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Man, what an amazing episode.
Great episode.
Great season. This is probably the best episode of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we still got two more.
Ignoring the jump cuts to Silo 17 and whatnot.
We still got two more, though. Who knows what's waiting for us in the next two.
I know exactly what's waiting for us in the next two.
But do you know if they're going to be the best? I mean, best episode-wise.
Oh, yeah. I don't. Yeah, production-wise and interesting character developments. Yeah, I don't know. Because they've gone off script from the books quite a bit. Yeah. Hey, if you like this podcast, you check out our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. Donnell, what else should they do?
Folks, We were looking at the calendar today. 2 weeks from now is a big event.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to have the season finale of Silo with the season premiere of Severance. And if you are a fan of this podcast and you are not hyped about that,
I mean, that's like,
where
that's
have
an
you
intersection of things.
Oh,
it's a moment in time that will not happen again.
Yes.
Where you have two of the best shows on TV, on streaming.
And not, like I said, not just their episodes happening at the same time. No, a finale and a premiere.
On the same day.
I hope you're ready, because that's good. That's good. So
that's gonna be a double episode.
That's a double. It has to be. So we got that. Of course, as we said, still got the best ofs coming. It's gonna be great. And then me and Robert have just been realizing we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So there's gonna be a Talking It coming because
we put that off for too long.
There's too much to talk about, folks. So we got a lot of good stuff coming. A lot of good stuff. I'm excited for it. I hope you're excited for it. And just keep listening.
All right, why don't animals suck, Donnell?
So I haven't been watching a show or anything. I mean, well, quick update. I'm back to watching Supernatural.
I'm about to break that for you here in a minute.
I'm only, I think I'm on episode 5 or 6 of season 4.
Oh, that's when it's starting to get good.
It is starting to.
Yeah, are you starting to feel it? Are you starting to get sucked in?
I mean, it's
season 4
there.
is really when it starts to happen.
Things are definitely
like
a little bit more.
Have the Castiel is in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Death?
No, haven't seen Death yet. I imagine that'll be in some episodes pretty soon here. But yeah, so back watching Supernatural. I did a quick rewatch of Peacemaker, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah. Still fantastic. I saw some. There were like little YouTube sorts on YouTube, obviously, of different Peacemaker stuff, and I was like, let's go back and watch that. So I did. Still a good show. Really looking forward to season 2, especially now. Because there were, like I said, I remember talking about this Peacemaker. Originally, James Gunn was like, none of the stuff from pre-DCU is going to count.
What is the new one called? DCEU?
No. Oh, sorry. No, the old one was DCEU. Now it's just DCU.
Okay. Oh my God, the next movie we're going to get after like Superman is going to be Clayface.
Yep.
For some reason.
Yeah.
Because they just say it's ready, and I'm like, oh, you better do it. You better do it, because Clayface is my favorite Batman villain.
I really am interested in how it's going to play out.
I love what he did in Harley Quinn, which we got another season of coming up.
We do have another season.
Surprisingly, I didn't think we were getting another season of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one thing that
cartoon.
James Gunn did say, like, that was one of the shows that was continuing going.
Yeah.
It's part of DC Elseworlds, though, not the DCU. So DC Elseworlds is everything outside so that's the Batman, the Penguin, Harley Quinn. I think those are the only 3. The Joker movies. Those are the things those are DC Elseworlds.
It's too hard to keep track of.
But anyways, so rewatch Peacemaker, still fun, a lot of fun, good. Butterfly people suck. Supernatural, but on YouTube, I discovered I discovered this kind of this weird thing that's going on. There's this guy, and I'm subscribed to him. His name is James Tolland. And he does this basically describing like the life of different animals. Okay. But to like some weird, to really like it's animated, but it's like really like low level at like just a step above stick figures.
How do you spell it? James and then
James and Toland.
Okay.
I want to make it clear, James is not the point of this rant because James is the original. James is the guy who started this. So, like I said, he does the description of like what your life
cartoon.
Cartoon. The art style is very rudimentary. No, say that. I think it's on purpose. And then there's fun little videos. Nothing. They're kind of funny.
How to gorilla. Your life as an orangutan. Okay. Yeah.
So cool. And like I said, I'm subscribed to James. I like James. James doing his thing. He's the first. Suddenly, and it's just recently too. And I even saw in some comment sections people were pointing this out. Suddenly there's all these other people doing the exact same thing. Except
if something works, you copy.
But here's the thing. James, like I said, you go to his, it says your life as, and it's like how to be a snow leopard, how to be a great white shark. These people have taken it and they make it why it would suck to be this animal.
Well, there's like cinema sins. Yeah. And then there's like an anti-cinema sins.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's always why. But so all the copycats are doing why it would suck. But the thing that annoys me is two things. One is they always say why it would suck, and I'm like, but it doesn't suck to be an animal. I mean, if you're an animal, you're an animal. You enjoy that life. And a lot of times in their videos, they'll do out the whole animal's life, and it's like the why it sucks is because in the end you get eaten by another animal and die. Like, that's just a part of life.
Yeah.
But the life they describe, like one dude did a why it would suck to be a flying squirrel, and up until the very end, which was an old age squirrel of 5 years, so that's a nice long life. It was actually pretty like, yeah, you're a flying squirrel, you get to live in a community, all that stuff, and you have family, you raise your young, like flying squirrels apparently like live in little groups and stuff, and they huddle together in winter, and then like when you have your kids, they're not the kind of animals that just kick their kids out. They actually like raise their kids, and they impart that knowledge of how to be a flying squirrel. So I'm like, hey, you know what? For an animal, sounds pretty good life. Yeah. And then in the end,
and as an animal, you get done cooking before you're born.
Yeah.
Like those animals that like an elephant, baby,
born,
you
pop out.
And then you could walk immediately. You know why? Mm-hmm. Because humans have to be born premature. Yeah. This is why I'm for post-birth abortion. Up to 3 months. We're not done cooking until 3 months after we're born. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just saying things, okay?
Yeah,
like, audience, okay?
We've had some alcohol.
I'm not really before post-birth abortion, okay? I'm just, but no, like, because the pelvis is not wide enough for a fully formed human head to fit through. We have to be born 3 months.
Yeah.
That's why when we're born, we can't just walk.
No.
But animals don't have that problem because we don't have we have the big brains. Got the small brains.
As a horse and zebra, like you're galloping around within hours of getting
because you got to be ready to run.
Yeah.
There's cheetahs.
And so, and actually, that's one of the biggest affronts with this. I want to finish my rant real quick. I want to do one other thing. So one of the biggest affronts that I saw was why it would suck to be an elephant. And that's the other thing is the other reason why this stuff is, so James Tolan, I don't know anything about him, but his videos, like, they're meant for comedic, and they're kind of funny. But at the end of the day, like, they also are telling you actual information about that animal. And, like, this is what happens, this is how you're born, this is stuff. And so they're educational a little bit, in a sense. Some of these other ones, especially the why it would suck to be this animal, are blatantly lying. Because, like, one of the ones I saw was, like, why it would suck to be an elephant. And they basically were talking about, like, how, like, you're born, and then your mother really doesn't care about you. She just is off, and it's up to you to keep up with it. I'm like, no.
Elephants care.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, they've been very clear that
like the
elephants,
whole tribe.
Yeah, they form tribes and stuff, and, like, they're all about their young and protecting their young. So I'm just like, no, that's a lie. Elephants are, when it look at the animal community. Yeah. So, like, that's part of the rant. The last thing I want to say is, like you said, when you find something that works, you stick with it. It is interesting to go through James Tolan's videos, because he's only been doing this only been on YouTube for about a year and a half. When you scroll back to the beginning, because it shows that he definitely wanted to be, I'm assuming he knows something about animals. He definitely wanted to educate people about animals. So you go back to his earlier videos, and they're live videos of him talking and explaining animals, and it's like, not getting nearly as many views. And then he eventually like did a couple kind of like of these animated ones, but not fully committed. And that's, you see the views tick up, and then eventually he just full commits.
Yeah.
And he just realized what worked. And his views go, so like you look at some of his earlier like live action views, he's like 3,000 videos.
Hey, look,
views.
Why every episode of our show isn't talking it? I don't know.
5,000 views. And then you look at like his animated stuff, and there's like 902,000 views, and it's like, oh yeah, you find that thing. He even has stuff in the millions, so it's like, you find that thing that works, you stick with it. But yeah, so once again, check out James Tolan. He does the good stuff. Steer clear. Oh yeah, that's the last part of my rant. I forgot. So that's the other thing is people have taken the same thing. So like I said, there's James Tolan who does how to be an animal. Then there's all these copycats who did why it sucks to be an animal, and now there's these next level copycats that do like why it would suck to be a stormtrooper. That's like they're doing the exact same animated style, but it's just about much broader topics. And like, it's just everyone is just copying. Yeah, I mean that's the whole point of everything. That's how it always goes.
I mean, I'm for it. More content and trying new things. I'm for it, but don't lie.
Don't lie. And also don't. Some of them are using AI because you could, or AI generated voices.
Stuff, man.
And anyways, subscribe to James Tolan. The rest is at your own discretion.
Speaking of AI,
yes.
Just sidebar. I've been getting into crochet. We'll talk about it on a talking at some point.
Just that weird. That's a weird side. Well, it's an understatement. No. But I'm just like, how does AI and crochet?
Oh, you would think. AI gets into everything.
True.
So I've been trying to like up my game as I move into a journeyman / master level.
You definitely have
I
been
was
upping
making
the
hats
game.
and scarves.
Yep.
Now I'm making amigurumi
Octopuses
and stuff. Yeah.
Things.
And so I go onto the webs
Blankets
and
and
I look
pillows.
for like amigurumi ideas, which amigurumi is a Japanese term for making basically crochet dolls.
Yep.
Which I've done.
Yep.
Made some octopus.
Looking at one right now.
Made me a BMO.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like looking at
Very
pictures.
good
I'm like
BMO.
looking for other ideas.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much AI images of crochet dolls that do not actually have patterns and are not real that I'm like, ooh, I would really like to make that. Let me find the pattern.
It doesn't exist.
Only to find out that it's just an an AI image.
Yep. That's some BS.
That I can't ever get a pattern for. That's killing me. That's
exist.
the worst.
Doesn't exist.
That's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Terrible. Terrible. Okay.
All right. Robert,
I got 2 animes.
tell
for
me
you.
about these animes that I got to stop my
really
life to watch.
want you to finish Supernatural.
Yep. But
These are 2 things you got to stop everything for and watch.
all right.
The first one is, and I'm going to butcher this a little bit, I think. Dead Demons, DDD, Destruction. Came out this year.
That's a lot.
It is a one and done anime, one season. I don't think there's ever going to be any more.
One and done.
It ends in a really satisfying place. It is one of the best things I've ever seen.
Okay.
I don't want to tell you too much about it. Anybody who goes to watch this realizes it's really good. I'm not a huge fan of how they animate the characters, but the background animation is like Akira level.
Nice.
And it is about an alien spaceship hovering above Tokyo. And it focuses mostly on a group of high school students, but it follows them over the course of 4 years where they graduate and go on to college and kind of live their lives. It's real strange to watch. You really don't get a clear idea of what's going on until episode 13.
Okay. And how many episodes is it?
17 episodes.
Okay.
Which is very odd. Usually seasons of anime are 13 or 26.
Yep.
So for it to be 17 episodes, that's just what they needed to tell the story. It
leans more to it being a one-shot for
It
sure.
explores so many things in non-heavy-handed ways. Love, how you treat aliens that are showing up on the planet Earth, international politics, internal politics of the country where this alien ship is, alternative realities, time travel, god beings. I mean, I don't want to say too much about it, except that it's very strange when you first start watching it. And like I said, it's good, but you're really not going to start to understand what the picture is until you get to episode 13. So things are going to be a little wonky with crazy things are happening and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it explores okay, what happens if we give really crazy, powerful alien technology to essentially children and see what they do with it. And it gets real dark at times. It is just amazing.
Yeah.
It is really, really good. And I think everyone should watch it if they like any kind of sci-fi or weird psychological slice of life. It's really amazing.
All right, so I'm on the Wikipedia, and the 2 things I want to point out is there's a part where it's talking about political groups who wants to eliminate the aliens called War Toctopuses, and the ones who want to negotiate peace called Peace Squids, which I'm like, where's this stuff? And then the last thing is just to kind of hit on what you already focused on. Is the focus of the story is not on the alien invasion, but on human nature and growing up in a turbulent and uncertain world.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and I'm just like that. Yeah. I do like a good, what you would call a subversion of the, most of the time, aliens are here, so it's all alien invasion or how we interact with aliens. It's no, we're actually going to focus on just what it looks like. Like
Dude,
another one.
It's so crazy. Like the aliens are there, and you get to meet them, and then like get introduced to them, and like their whole storyline is insane. Like the different ones that you meet, and how they're treated by humanity, and how they respond to that, and how humans respond to it. And then you get like multiple organizations that are like, we need to protect the aliens, and we need to accept them. And then there's other groups that are like, no, we need to kill them. We need to get rid of them. And it takes a really long time watching the show to make a decision for yourself. And I think by the end, you don't really know whether you should accept the aliens or not. And there's like terrorist organizations that get involved. There's like activist organizations that plot assassinations. Like, I mean, it is all over the place, but it is not heavy-handed on anything. It's so subtle on every aspect, and it touches on several dozen different concepts in beautiful, meaningful ways.
Yeah.
And it is one of the best things I've ever seen. It is so good and worth checking out.
Okay.
Yeah. Good times.
All right.
All right. And then finally, I'm going to wrap it up with a new show that I just found. Has 2 seasons that are done, 1 season coming out that just started coming out a couple of weeks ago, called Link Click.
Link Click.
I kind of slept on this for a minute. I'm hesitant to call it anime because it's Chinese.
Okay.
And people in the anime community are very anti-Chinese anime.
Yeah.
This is an exception. I would say I'm kind of not enjoyed Chinese anime, but this is different. This one is amazing. This is a drop everything and watch it. Like, from the first episode, you're going to get hooked. I think it'll take you some time for the other one, the Dead Demons one. I think you'll have to kind of sink into that because, like I said, it doesn't really get rolling. Like, you don't really understand what's going on until episode 13. First episode of Link Click, you're in it. You are in it. It is about a photo shop that like a camera shop.
Okay.
Where they develop photographs and sell camera equipment and stuff. There is a guy that works there who has the power to see and interact with the past through photographs.
Okay.
And he has a teammate, a guy who he works with, that he can send back in time through the photographs.
Okay.
Sounds weird.
Yeah.
It sounds maybe a little stupid. And I kind of slept on it for a minute. Like, this has kind of been on my list, and I'm kind of cleaning up old lists and whatnot. And the description of it, which I don't have up, it doesn't sell it. But when you start watching the show, you're like, oh, this is atmospheric. Just to give you an idea, the Wikipedia article for this has every single song that they play for every single moment of every single episode. The soundtrack is amazing. It's insanely good. The opening and end theme are bangers.
Nice.
And everything in between is just like head nodding goodness. Just amazing. So somebody will come to them and be like for instance, in the first episode, a company comes to them and says, we need to know information about what X company is going to do on this day so that way we can make stock changes.
Okay.
And so they get the photograph. So they can take over the body quantum leap style of whoever took the photograph. So they find a picture that some girl, some assistant to the CEO posted on like Instagram, and they use that of her food.
Yeah.
And they use that to take over her body and inhabit her body so she can be involved in the meeting where they make a corporate decision and then bring that information back to their client.
But how did they get this girl into this corporate meeting if she's not?
Because they take over her body.
Right.
I mean, she's the assistant to the CEO. She's going to be in the meeting.
Oh, okay. I got you.
They know that she's going to be in the meeting.
Yeah, okay.
So they just have to find a picture. So there's like a bunch of rules. Like, you can only be there for 12 hours. you can't change anything in the past or it'd be real bad.
Right.
And so you kind of they have to like pretend to be the person that they don't really know.
Yeah.
And it gets wild. It is so I don't want to talk about it. It's a Severance level good.
Okay.
The third episode is about a basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very end of the third episode, something happens, and I've never gasped louder. And it's a subtle thing, but the implications are large. It is a link click. Just, you gotta watch it. It's so good and will suck you in immediately. This is like, if I show you an episode, it's gonna be a diplomat thing, Donnell. We're just gonna watch the whole first season because you're gonna be like, I need to know. I want to wrap myself in this blanket. It is, yeah, the concept is strange, but the way that the execution is amazing. And again, the soundtrack is amazing and the art style is amazing. It is just good on every level.
Yeah.
And fantastic. I've only barely started season 2, but it's seeming pretty good, and it's already got a season 3. And it's amazing. Link click.
All right, so is season 3 going to be a prequel season?
I think it's a prequel.
Okay, yeah, because I was on the Wikipedia. One of the things this is a small thing, but I really just liked while you were talking about this, and you're talking about it being a Chinese anime or whatever you want to call that style there, and you're like, yeah, we in the community, and I'm just like, Robert is in the anime community.
I read the comments, okay.
Robert identifies himself as part of the anime community. Oh man, I think I've said this many times. I think on Talking It probably more, but me and Robert, we worked together at at the same company but 2 different departments. And when I worked in the first department with Robert, he was my boss, and if you would have told that one day me and him would be good friends and doing a podcast, I would have told him no way in hell. The other thing I think is a new revelation, if you would have jumped back maybe a year and be like, Robert's gonna be a hardcore anime head, I'd be like, what are you smoking?
I needed content, Donnell, and it was there for the taking.
It was there.
I've immersed myself. I know things.
You have embraced it. You have gone. I mean, that's one thing about you, Robert, that I like. There's no such thing as a half measure with Robert.
That's right.
There is no such thing with a half measure.
There was one time when I asked my mom if she thought I had ADHD, and she said, I've never known a human being that could concentrate on something so hard. And it turns out that she didn't know anything, because that's a key component of ADHD.
Yes, true. Very true.
But it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
When I go into something like crochet,
yep,
I go hard.
Yes,
I don't half-ass anything.
No.
I may not do it forever, but in the time that I'm doing something, I am very focused on that thing.
I feel like if they ever make a documentary about your life, it'd be called like Robert Bell, No Half Measures. Yeah.
All right, well, that's the show. Thanks for joining us. Again, check out our website, watchinpod.com. They can find links to our social media and to email us as well. Support us on Patreon and Spotify and all that good stuff. We also have an email, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, especially what your thoughts are on the animes that I've been talking about, or whether you're like the Robert anime arc that's been going on for a year and a half, because I can't stop.
You can't stop.
Donnell, what should they do?
Just as I already said, we got a lot of good stuff coming up. A lot of stuff I'm excited about. I hope you guys are excited about it. And I'm anxious to get back doing a little bit of Talking It. I feel like we need to get a Talking It too. It's weird because it's like, well, me and Robert, we could just hang out and chat, but it's not the same as doing an episode of Talking It and getting that on the record. But anyways, so we got a lot of good stuff. We got Talking It coming back, returning, and so give us a listen, give us any ratings, reviews, 5 stars, and thank you so much for listening. Bye.